Hey guys, so I'm here with Mark, the CEO of a brand new company that's being launched called Veg Ready. How's it going?
Hey, it's great. Nice to meet you again,
Yeah,
man.
thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
We have some products here which we'll be talking about very soon. We'll do a whole taste testing of these. But before we even talk about the products themselves, would you mind just kind of going over Veg Ready and what that is all about?
Sure. And in fact, just so that people can get an idea of why I even did this crazy thing, I'll give you a little backstory on me and how I became vegan and what's been the process for me for a long process. So, if we rewind way back when I was in high school, I had really bad digestive problems. I was eating meat and vegetables, maybe not even vegetables, just meat and potatoes every night for dinner. That was my diet growing up in a typical American family. There was frozen meals and there was some frozen dinners and things like that thrown in, but it's pretty much typical American in the 50s. I grew up in the 50s. And I had terrible constipation problems. Pardon me.
Yeah, that's well,
That's offensive.
that's most of us though.
Yeah. So when I was 18, I started choosing my own food because I went away to college. I went to a junior college in Miami. We talked about that.
Yeah.
And the idea was that I added a simple thing to my diet because I was lazy. I started eating bran cereal. Didn't
Right.
cook, right?
Yeah, sure.
And all of a sudden, everything started flowing through me. And I got immediate relief. And I said, hey, this
Right.
is what else can I do? What
Yeah.
else is possible?
Yeah.
And within 2 years, I decided to go vegetarian because I'd read a lot. And I also wanted to live in a more peaceful world. And at that time, we had the Vietnam War. This is 69, 71. We had the Vietnam War tearing our country apart, doing a lot of things in the world. So for a lot of reasons, I was considering what impact, how can I make an impact? What's my impact going to be? I wasn't really thinking about environment, and I wasn't really thinking about my own health. I was 19, so I was
Yeah.
indestructible.
Oh, I completely understand.
Yeah, so that's how I started to become a vegetarian, and then 10 years later, I actually went vegan in
Hmm.
1981.
Wow.
Now, and this is a little bit of a funny story. Your listeners might enjoy this. My first 10 years, I wasn't very tactful, and so I went around saying to people, don't you know that meat is murder? I didn't make any friends. I was a very lonely vegetarian. Okay.
Yeah,
So I
that's
had a
always
lot to
tough.
learn.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I've become more subtle. In fact, this t-shirt and this hat, a lot of
yeah,
times I wear these intentionally to let other people that want to talk about it come talk to me. Like at the gym, you won't believe how many bodybuilders come over and talk to me and say, "Hey, I thought vegans were all skinny. You're doing, you're pushing metal. How does that happen?" And
right.
I talk to them and say, "Well, your body can do protein. Look at the baboon, look at the giraffe, look at the bull, look at the elephant. So your body can make protein out of plants just like animals do." And so I get a lot of conversations that way instead of me putting it in their face. So that's been a transition for me over the last 46 years.
Yep.
And then, so fast forward, I worked in finance. It's kind of like Wall Street's not a very friendly place to vegans, okay? So I had to keep my diet pretty quiet most of those years. I did move to California during that time, and it was much easier socially living in California in the 80s.
What part of California?
Southern Cal first, and then I lived in the Bay Area and worked in Silicon Valley finance area a lot
Nice.
over the years. And so the idea is that I had an experience where I was able to see how more and more people, mainstream, were getting open. In particular in California,
Right.
it's a little bit ahead of the curve. People getting more and more open, and so I wanted to do something. My business was here, my personal life and my personal preferences were here. It was a big gap, but I wanted to do something with my skills, and so I had a little extra money in the 2005 period of time, and I decided I'm gonna make a movie about how healthy vegan food is and how good it is for people that need to make a change. So I was inspired by the movie called Super Size Me. Remember that movie?
Oh yeah,
Made a
that was
big
a
difference.
big hit. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
and I was so inspired that it started a conversation between kids and their parents about diet and food and the right thing to do. And so I wanted to make something that was like Super Size Me, but in reverse. So Super Size Me, the guy in the movie, Morgan Spurlock, he ate hamburgers every day and his health went down, down, down
Yeah,
for 30 days.
yeah, it's crazy.
So we wanted to start out with a person who ate McDonald's, and every day they ate better and better because it was all vegan and all raw.
Right.
So we decided to make the opposite: 30 days of eating raw.
That's
And
awesome.
that was the movie, Simply Raw, reversing diabetes in 30 days. Because
Yeah.
all 6 people that came on this film to be in the movie, they were all diabetic. And this doctor in Arizona, where we shot the film, he coached them and helped them and did all the medical work before, during, and after. It's all in the movie. And about 2 million people have seen this movie.
That's epic.
And that's great. And I learned online marketing, so I'm no longer a finance guy, making investments of six figures. Instead, I'm marketing online. $29 DVD. This is 2006, 7 when we came out with the movie. So fast forward now, I've been waiting and watching 10 years, watching the American demand for vegan foods just go like skyrocketing up.
It's
Very
amazing,
exciting.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Really exciting. And partly for the work you're doing and people like yourself. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So the next thing was, okay, I want to help more people eat vegan food, make it really convenient, because one of the biggest complaints I got from thousands of emails, and I've done screenings of my film. This is a copy of it. It's called Simply Raw: Reversing Diabetes in 30 Days. I recommend it. It's on YouTube. Maybe you'll put up the URL.
I'll have the link down below which you guys can check out.
Yeah. So the idea was that we wanted to help people make a change if they wanted to make a change.
Right.
And we heard from so many people that saw this film and saw this miraculous, people would start diabetic and at the end they weren't diabetic. That was pretty cool. But people would say it's too hard, doesn't taste good, where do I get it? It's not convenient, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
My friends don't like it, my family doesn't like it, all these excuses.
I've heard it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, someday I'm going to use my business skills, my finance background, and I'm going to start a company that the purpose of the company is it helps people start to eat a little bit more healthy, a little bit more plant-based. And that's Veg Ready. So I've been thinking about this for 10 years, waiting since 2006. And finally, 3 years ago, I started working with some food scientists. At first, we were looking at frozen food or fresh food deliveries, and we realized that if we want to impact the American meat-eating public and help some of them who say they want to eat, but convenience is a problem, it's not easy for them, we got to solve the convenience problem, and fresh food is not that convenient. And frozen food's not that convenient. So that's how we came up with this product.
Yeah. And so we were kind of talking about this a little off air, but your product, you're saying, it's not frozen.
Right.
It's not, it doesn't need to be heated or anything like that. It's fully cooked, but it can last over a year just outside of the refrigerator. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that process.
Sure. So in the box, there's 3 dishes. There's a quinoa dish, a salsa dish, and then there's a greens dish. This is spinach and broccoli. This one happens to be jalapeno, mango, tomato, hearts of palm, and this is a blonde quinoa.
And you kind of mix it all together and have a little...
there's enough room in the tray for you to mix the salsa in. That's how we recommend it. Right. The greens you can eat alone. They're pretty good. Yeah. Spinach and broccoli, really nice. There's a little spork here, a little spork. And then there's a little booklet. We took advantage of this billboard space here while you're sitting there at your desk eating this. We have some answers to the question, what if 2 million meat-eating Americans ate 2 plant-based meals a week? So that's
awesome.
That's the mission.
I love that little aspect too, because it's not just like providing a meal to someone; it's also providing the reason why they're eating this meal and the good that they're doing from eating that.
Yeah. In the movie, we found that people were really amazed, and Morgan Spurlock, the fellow who made Super Size Me, was kind enough to give us a nice interview for the movie. Woody Harrelson was in the movie. Tony Robbins was in the movie. Joel Furman, who's a doctor, scientific advisor to Whole Foods. He gave us a nice interview. So we had all these great, inspiring medical and influential people giving us interviews for the movie because they believe the cause of helping people use information. But the key is making it easy because we're all in a hurry. And we all have so many things competing for our time and energy. Who has time to go prepare meals ahead of time? Yeah. Not a lot of people. Some people do, and great, good on them, but we got to make it easy for the general public who's in a hurry. And so that's what this is designed to help people do. It packs up. It goes in a backpack, in a purse.
Yeah. You take it to work with you.
Yeah. And then it's something looks good. You're proud to have it on your desk. You're not embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
And it's not a diet product where you're broadcasting to your office, hey, I'm losing weight.
And we were kind of joking before, but it's essentially it's almost like a healthy TV dinner. Almost, you open it up, you have your different sections, but these are healthy foods in there. And totally agree that the convenience aspect is definitely a big complaint that I get from people in general who are trying to eat healthy, especially when you're talking about whole foods. And I think this is awesome that people can have this in their home or at work in their, in their bag or something like that. And have that convenience of eating a healthy plant-based meal.
And you asked before, I didn't really answer your question, I apologize, but the reason this is healthy without chemicals for 12 months shelf life is it's the same as a can. Mm-hmm. So the food is cooked in this container, just like a can or a jar of spaghetti sauce. And then until you open it, it's safe. It's got a 12-month use by date. It's actually 15 months legally, but 12 months we put on the label.
Right.
And so you could buy this and then save it and then use it in 3 or 4 months. And I've eaten food that's a year old to test it. I had to make sure.
Sure.
And it has the same, visual appearance. It has the same mouthfeel, same texture, the same taste. Mix is the same when you mix the salsa in with the quinoa. So it performs just like you expect it to be, whether it's you get it in the mail and you eat it tomorrow, or you get it in the mail and you eat it next month, or you get it in the mail and you eat it next 3 months.
Yeah.
So it has maximum utility.
Right.
And that's how we help people make the change they say they want to do. Supposedly there's 22 million flexitarians, you've heard that term?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Who say they would like to eat more plant-based meals if it was convenient. So we're solving the convenience problem. We're making it really convenient. We wanted to have it be as close as possible to a price of a Burger King, so that people who eat Burger King 5 days a week at work, they'll eat 2 of these and then 3 Burger Kings.
Right.
That's what we're trying to do, is help people eat 2 meals a week. So each month they get a case of 8 boxes.
Right. And that over time definitely has an impact on their health, on eating less animals from a cruelty aspect, better for the environment.
Yeah, totally.
So it's awesome. Yeah, the more plants people can eat, just the better. All the better.
And it's much more realistic to say, hey, if you're interested in making a try, why don't you do this for a month? Order 8 meals, eat 2 a week, see how it feels.
Sure.
If it's easy, continue it. And that's a much easier proposition than, why don't you go vegan, cold, like hard stop.
Cold tofurkey, right?
Right. Thanks for correcting me. Yeah, it's much easier to say to someone, try this for 2 meals a week rather than do the whole enchilada.
Yep.
And now you got to figure out 21 meals a week. That's a harder proposition for a person who's busy. So that's why we made this meal. We think it's transition. We think a lot of people will eventually say, hey, this is working. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do vegan till 6 or maybe vegan all week and weekends, do the other thing. We think a lot of people will participate in changing their diet in the direction they want to do, using this as a tool. We see this as a tool for people to make the change if they want to make a change.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, and I'm sure it'll domino down to them eating more plant foods, them cooking more, using your guys' meals, for the convenience factor. It's a win-win. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never really talked about this with anyone before, but since you're into growing vegan businesses, could you talk a little bit about that for people out there who might be interested in starting their own business? What kind of goes into that?
Okay, that's a really good, thanks for bringing that up. So, as I mentioned, I worked in the finance industry, and I was mainly a capital formation guy, which means I helped raise money as an investment, usually for projects. I was a licensed stock trader, but I didn't trade stocks. I wanted to project finance. I wanted to have an idea, raise money for it, see it grow up and become something. So, I financed windmills, solar energy, R&D for jojoba plants. Also did traditionals like oil and gas and real estate and municipal bonds. But the idea was, how do we use finance to change society's direction, the products that we all see and are available to us in society? How do we use capitalism for the good?
Yeah.
To make a better society for ourselves and products and services. And so not only is this a business that I'm starting for profit, and that's partly why it's a for-profit business versus just make donations to nonprofits. Sure. I wanted to use the capitalism, the power of capitalism, the force, the innovation, the motivation. I wanted to use that to make the change, towards a better society, and healthier food, I think, is a better society. So we want to demonstrate that a vegan company can do what a tech company does. So we are structured just like tech companies. I've been around my whole finance career, and we have a plan for a seed round, we have a plan for a Series A round, and we have a plan for an IPO. And that's your traditional sort of growth path of a Silicon Valley company, where they come up with ideas, they get a little bit of money, they prove out the product, they get a beta test going, get the product in use, they get some clients, get some growth, and then they either get acquired or get a big value, big investment by a big partner, and then they grow and then they sell. So we want to build up a big company, have that growth curve, enter the market, make a big difference in the market, become a big influencer and product, we would love to be a big percentage of the convenience food market. That's where we fit in convenience foods. And this would be a great example for other vegans who say, I want to make a difference in the world. I want to use my business interest, my business skills. So we want to model that. And the financing we're going to use is related to the crowdfunding laws you may have heard of. There's a series of new laws that were passed under the Obama administration. I lobbied and helped those laws get passed and helped codify them. I presented evidence to the SEC about these laws. And the idea is that these laws allow for small young companies to go to their customers, their early adopters, and get small investments as low as $50, $500, $5,000 from these, customers who want to see the company grow.
Yeah.
So the model that I'm trying to propose for a new investment banking model is a little bit heady for most people who are not interested in this, but my passion is if we can have companies be funded from the bottom up instead of the top down, these companies will have values that the investors and the customers want.
Exactly.
So it'll be more aligned and hopefully end up with better products and services in the market and a better economy. So that's the model we're trying to do. Companies that have done it before, versions of this. Ben & Jerry's did a direct public offering where they sold stock to their customers when they were raising money for growth. There's been organic food companies, organic clothing companies, breweries. So there's models for this in the past, but the laws in the Jobs Act under Obama really take this to the next level. So you can raise up to 50 million using these special laws. And there's levels you can participate in before you get to the 50 million. So we want to use those news laws. We want to use my background in the finance industry, and I have some guys from Wall Street that have done those kinds of big deals on my board. So we think we can create a model and then let people who learn about us say, hey, I can do that. And even we might even develop a template and maybe make some systems available to help other vegan companies go like this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's the game.
Yeah, I love that because, there's plenty of vegans out there starting their own non-for-profits, and that's great. But I think using the power of business is also really great as well because you look at all the other businesses that are kind of dominating the supermarket, non-vegan businesses, you have to go up against them like fire with fire almost. Like you have to, start something competitive but not necessarily just competitive, just a better product for people. Yeah. Something more sustainable, more compassionate, healthier.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
With Veg Ready, has this taken off yet? Like, are people able to buy it now, or is that something still in the works?
Great question. Just like everything else, it took way longer than I expected. This movie went 10 times over budget.
Wow, okay.
And it took a couple of years to get the money back. We did get it back, which is great.
Nice.
Like I said, I started about 3 years ago working on different formulas and recipes, and we even looked at other delivery methods like frozen and fresh.
Right.
We settled with foods that are pre-cooked in a sealed container. That's called retort, R-E-T-O-R-T. Retort is the process. It's the same as canning and spaghetti sauce in a jar. So we settled on that, but we wanted, we had different containers, we had different configurations. One time we had just 2 units, wasn't enough food. This way we get a third unit that's a dish of greens. We think greens are really important for people to include, but they have to taste good. If they don't taste good, people aren't going to order it and buy it. We have a lot of plans. This is our first phase is 50 meal options from Peru. We have 50 recipes. Right now we've produced 4 different sauces, 1 set of greens, and 2 different quinoas.
Yeah.
And we'll produce the rest of the 50 over the next couple of months. It's available for order starting next week. Actually, your timing's pretty good.
There we go.
So right after Thanksgiving, it's now available. Cyber Monday starting out.
Yeah. So by the time this podcast is probably out, it's probably gonna be available. So I'll have the link in the description down below, which you guys can check out.
Yeah, and then we think that the early test period is we'll learn a lot about December, and then in 2019 that's going to be growth. Yeah. Now we did a Kickstarter last December, and we got about $28,000 of orders in 1 month, competing with Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
And also, people weren't going to get it for 6-8 months. We're a little late. We apologize about that. Believe me, we're trying to keep our customers happy, our Kickstarter pre-order customers, and we'll make it up to them with some special gifts. But anyway, so that's the story of the company. It was an idea to solve a problem that I saw a lot of people had. I had when I was starting out. we want to help people make a change if they want to make a change.
Absolutely. So Veg Ready, you can get it delivered straight to your home. Are you looking to go into retailers, or is this just direct to consumer?
We think the best way to do this is develop a relationship through the web. Let people order. They'll be able to mix and match flavors with these 50 flavors. We're going to come out with 50 more flavors from the Mideast, Greek, and Turkey.
Oh, perfect.
And then we have 50 planned from Southeast Asia, and after that, India. So we should have 200 meal options.
That's awesome.
And the big, grand vision is that you'll be able to send in your DNA and microflora report.
You're kidding.
And our API will talk to your encoded report and then tell you of our 200 meals which are known and which have been shown to be favorable for your gene set and your microflora. So green light, yellow light, eat them sometimes but not a lot. Red light, avoid these.
That's really
because
cool.
Food is a signal to the genes for expression. It's a chemical to the body. And the research that I'm following, the researchers that I'm following, there's so much new reports coming out, studies showing that many health conditions can be reduced if they're negative, or you can enhance the benefits of healthy benefits by changing your microflora and by avoiding signaling to certain genes to express that you might be able to avoid certain conditions. I mean, there's a breast cancer gene, and if you were to learn that certain foods were shown to express that gene, you might want to avoid those foods. So we think that the future of food and medicine is merging. Food as medicine, you probably heard about that. Yes, it's really being talked about a lot on the cutting edge. And so we're building a platform in a couple of years which will be useful for people who want to choose food as a medicine. Not only it's got to taste good and be priced right, but we want it to be functional too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's the big picture.
So will like that DNA test like come with your guys' kit, or will you have like people going to clinics for that?
No, the way we want to be agnostic for the research, because that will change and get better and better. So we're going to rely upon you to find your you get your test, you send it in, then our tech back office will talk to your report. And then give you an algorithm will give you an answer of which meals we recommend based on the research and the general research, and then the report you present.
That's awesome, Chad, and that part of the plan, because like the whole microbiome, the science behind that is like growing rapidly, and it's a huge area in the field of nutrition, health, everything. So that's really cool. I can't wait to see what you do with that. So yeah, I guess to wrap this up, you guys, if you want to check out the Simply Raw documentary, check out the link in the description, as well as the link for where you can order Veg Ready today. And then Mark, is there any, do you have any last thoughts, anything you want to kind of tell the audience?
Well, I want to just say thanks to people like yourself who've been doing the heavy lifting over the last 30, 40 years, maybe not you, 30, 40 years, but a lot of people really worked hard to try to push this message out, share it, and they're unsung heroes. There's been a lot of organizations, the animal rights organizations, the health organizations, some of the doctors that we've talked about, the Barnard Center, Ornish, Preventive Medicine Research Institute in San Francisco, and of course, PETA, Mercy for Animals, Compassion Over Killing, In Defense of Animals, all these organizations, they're raising the awareness, they're helping people understand, giving them choices, giving them options, information to choose from. And we think that we're just coming to market with a product using capitalism to deliver the product that people now want. And the reason they want it is for people like you who have been bringing information to them and raising their awareness little by little, chipping away at the stone and then carving out the picture.
Totally. Yeah, everybody.
So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for creating this awesome company, because we all have to do our part. We all play an important role in this message. There's so much at stake here, so much benefit to get out of promoting a plant-based diet, the vegan lifestyle. So yeah, seriously, thank you, and thanks for coming on and sharing this with us.
Sure. There's one more thing I'll draw attention to. This. Sure. We put a booklet, and this booklet answers the question in about 20 pages. What if 2 million meat-eating Americans were to eat 2 vegan meals a week, 2 plant-based meals a week? And in this booklet, there's different statistics. They're mainly from government sources and also from a movie called Cowspiracy. Some friends of mine made that.
That's awesome.
And the idea is that while you're eating this meal, it's a little bit weird maybe, you want to have some information that supports you. in,
Right.
in your different choice. And so this is the first month you get 8 of these boxes.
Yeah.
And then the second month, you don't need these boxes anymore. So we reduce that, and you just get the 24 meals
Right.
that you order in a case with a lot less packaging. We think that's the future of Veg Ready customers, is that once they have the boxes, once they've used them. And so we send them a lunch tote bag instead of using a box
Yeah.
every day. So we've cut down on some of the
Okay.
packaging because we want to go in the right direction
Sure.
of less and less packaging, less and less materials, less and less
Right.
carbon footprint. But this is really designed for people that eat Burger King every day, and they're eating white bread,
Yeah.
maybe with chemicals,
Sure.
maybe, they're eating animal products that maybe have hormones. And so if they want to start making a change in the right direction, we want to help them.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't wait to try this. We'll be doing a whole taste test, like I said, separate video, which I'll have linked up as well. But yeah, Mark, thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Nice
It's
to
been
meet you,
great.
man. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. Thanks for coming down.
Awesome.